Welcome to the third episode of the Last Buzz podcast, hosted by Alain Huskanovich, aka Husky, and yours truly, Glenny B, Glenn Berlatano. We're in the house. Alain, you have the sponsor locked and loaded. Who's sponsoring this episode?
Yeah, so this week's fake sponsor, so we're not sponsored by it, but it's the MTHL. Quick little plug, because the boys and I were recently champions. You can see it on the side of the hat. What's great about this league is that none of the games are earlier than at 10 p.m. We get those 10:30 p.m. sprinkled in throughout the week, so always rough in the morning, but what can we say? The commish, we pay him our money, he takes our money, and we play games. So shout out to MTHL for being our fake sponsor of the week.
Yeah, crazy business model that you pay a guy, he buys some ice time, and it's never before 10 p.m. Screw
Nope.
any fathers or anything. People who just want a nice rest. No, you got to play all out against some guy who probably picks his navel. And I don't know, man. You guys aren't getting sleep. You guys are not getting sleep. You're not
No.
ready for work the next day.
No.
Nothing that a coffee and a nice ski slope won't fix, right?
Yeah, no, straight up. Just coffee in the morning. You get to the office, get that good old machine coffee, little creamer on the side, a bit of sugar to add some taste to it. But yeah,
Nice.
nothing better than feeling tiring in the morning.
So, Alain, let's talk some business here before we get into some hockey news. We got a bit of F1 news. Our boy, one of our favorite drivers, Daniel Ricciardo, got absolutely canned by, I would say, Helmut Marko, or what's his name? This guy has such an odd name. He said, "Screw you, Daniel Ricciardo, and your fan base." He should wear one, honestly, after he got canned, because you know Daniel Rick is going straight to
Yeah.
that guy's office. But yeah, man, can you go into detail about why he's being canned right now? Who's driving next year? Like, why are they doing this move now?
Yeah, so I think that the team he was racing for was clearly known to be like a team for the development drivers for Red Bull, which some people are starting to mention that that's kind of sus. How come Red Bull has a official second team kind of in the lineup? And yeah, they decided to counter my favorite driver Danny Rick and bring in Liam Lawson to finish the season. There's rumors that he'll be the driver full time next year, so I guess it's more of a tryout for him this year to see how he would perform into the actual cars. Simulators are always different. So little shout out to Danny Rick, always in our heart. I was gonna wear his sweater today because I have a Danny Rick sweater, but it's already hot enough in my condo that I didn't want to start sweating bullets in front of you guys today. But
Slipping and sliding all over the fucking apartment.
yeah, that's fine.
So much sweat.
But what I wanted to bring up too is that I'm happy we're finally done with all those preseasons. Obviously, 2 great episodes to start the year, but I think that it was a bit too serious for our kind. As you guys will see that throughout the year, it will be a lot more laid back. We're going to try to kind of troll the league, the official National Hockey League, a bit of a serious business. But I think that Glenn and I will try to, sprinkle in some humor here and there. So yeah, like preseason's ending. We'll go over the topics that we saw this week. What's buzzing in the league right now? So I don't know, Glenn. Did you want to start up with the first topic of the week?
Yes, sir. Well, last week we started off with some captains. So right after that episode was filmed, we caught wind that Rasmus Dahlin is the new captain of the Buffalo Sabres. Speaking of a geezer, Lindy Ruff, he gave that jersey to the beast Swede that is Rasmus Dahlin. I think he deserves it. Great 200-foot defenseman. Great offensive side to his game, but also very responsible defensively. Not like the biggest shutdown guy, but I think I think he's more of a show it with actions versus being a loudspeaker. you know this guy isn't saying much
Hmm.
in the room. He's quiet and
Yeah.
reserved, but he shows it out on the ice. So I'm really happy for Darlene. I see in the notes here that you mentioned Josh Allen narrated some sort of video. I wasn't able to see that. Did you see this?
Yeah, exactly. So the actual like announcement video, so they had Josh Allen, obviously one of the 17th captain from the Buffalo Bills, because in the NFL they have more than one captain. They have a captain for every little squad, it seems. So
Yeah,
like we know Buffalo fans like are insane. They're very loyal to their team. So I thought that was a nice little touch that they had like a nice little video montage. And yeah, so they had Josh Allen like narrate the video. A bit like you, like I agree with the choice with Darlene. Like some people were saying that maybe Alex Tuck could have been the captain, maybe Dylan Cousins. Alex Tuck, obviously, since he got traded there, he was always like super happy like to be part of the team.
yeah,
I think Cousins a little too young, so might as well go with Darlene at that point. But overall, I think it's a great choice did by
yeah,
the old geezer Lindy Ruff. That's also apparently like the Spain chick that's talking about it. Apparently, the fans love him. Not
yeah.
sure what they find appealing into his system and the way of playing, but we'll see this year if it brings anything. But I wanted to call you out because on the last episode you spoke about the Kings, their aging core, and obviously right after the game ended, Drew Doughty, very gruesome injury. Very sad to see. I
Yeah.
wanted to hear your comments. Do you feel like you jinxed that team in any way?
I don't know what you're talking about, actually. No, it's really sad to see. Like, I had a jinx, and I didn't mean it to be, you know, I just didn't want Drew Doughty snapping that fucking leg like that. This leads me into my whole point with all of these preseason injuries. We're going to talk about all the other injuries in this segment here, but I'm just not a huge fan of preseason games. I'm sure a lot of other people will agree. Yes, it gives a chance for all of these new guys, AHL or prospects, to actually suit up for the team, give their shot. You never know, there might be a spot or two that's freed up on that team. But I think it's a bit excessive with the amount of games that they have, and each team is putting their top guys in these games. And just
Mm-hmm.
look at the list here. We have Drew Doughty snapped his leg. Patrick Laine, his knee, he's out for 2 to 3 months. You got Ryan Backer, this 19-year-old guy. He's out for even longer. Like lots of injuries for him. And hold on, I'll just give a bit more of the list of players who got injured here, and then I want to hear what you think about everything. Uh, hold on here. Yeah, Macklin Celebrini, like he left the game last night, lower body. I'm sure some of these are precautionary. And you got Brady Kachuk,
Mm-hmm.
Timmy Stew. He got his dome actually murdered by Wi-Fi, or actually his own stick. But back to Drew Doughty. Did not mean to jinx this poor guy. I just hope he gets back. And who knows though? This could actually lead into the whole, like my whole take about Utah being that team making the playoffs, and the Kings are like just
Mm-hmm.
going to lose out because they start off the gate 0-10. What do you think?
Yeah, obviously it's something that we don't want to see in this league anymore. And you mentioned like you're feeling about the preseason game. I think I'm tending towards the same opinion as you. I think that back in the days, like we could actually put those prospects, like see how they handle each other against other NHLers. Um, it was an opportunity for fans to go watch games at a lower price, which I think, especially now in
Yeah,
Montreal's market, like we can see that the prices for a preseason game is almost the same as a regular season game. So there's no incentive on the fan side. There's those rookie games, the rookie games playing between other teams that I think could replace that. Maybe jumping in the future a bit, where there's rumors that the NHL might extend their schedule to 84 games. That might like cut the training camp games. I'd love to instead see maybe a rookie camp being extended instead, and cut in those preseason. Because a lot of, let's say, on the Laine situation, a lot of the comments that came up was that this Paré dude that is very far from sniffing the NHL maybe shouldn't be one of those guys suiting up against those NHL players. Maybe it's a freak accident. I still think that he did put out his knee
Yeah.
to, and which caused the injury. I was listening to our fellow boys today. I was listening to the Curfew Boys podcast where he was pretty flamed up. I think it's Sammy's cousin. Um, but I do agree. Like if it was a body to body hit and there was still maybe an injury or just like a bit like Jacques did with Sutzel, where like it caused some damage because of a stick or whatever, it would have been a different story. But the fact that the knee came out and caused that injury that we saw, I think that's totally unacceptable.
Yeah, and back to Patrick Laine, that game was crazy, man. Like so much chaos, rightfully so, right? One of the star players, super excited. Every teammate is excited for this guy to, start his new slate with the Montreal Canadiens. Again, in a preseason game, nothing really matters. That French pepper stuck out his knee further than he's ever done before. And look, honestly, Patrick Laine, like that hit looked so bad. We all thought he was done for the year, but
Mm-hmm.
luckily, I believe it's just some sort of sprain that does not require surgery. So I think he's going to go. I think he posted a Instagram thing about he was in front of a private jet, so the guy. He's Finnish. He's going back to the homeland. He's going to hop in a few saunas because in Finland they have more saunas than people. So who knows? He's going to sweat out that ligament tear and inflammation, and and who knows? We'll be, you know, it's honestly 2 to 3 months. That was his own timeline. He gave the team. He gave the doctors 2 to 3 months. He was like, guys, let me just go back home. Let me go in the ice plunge. Let me go in the ice plunge. Let me go in the sauna. I'm back. Trust me. Uh, so yeah, man, like crazy, crazy fights in that
Sorry,
game. But honestly,
sorry.
I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped for the first game of the season. Toronto, Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
Our We have another fake sponsor. It's Game Time. Game Time allows you to look at any single game you want for ridiculous cheap amounts of money. And yeah, guys, you gotta go to the Bell Center to watch the first game of the season because Georges Larac is going to make his surprise entrance and he's beating the shit out of
Yeah,
everyone on that team. Craig Berube might suit up and fight George Larac.
yeah.
So yeah, we can move on from the Patrick Laine situation, and I see in the outline here. I see in the outline that Seattle arena issues. Is it Seattle or is it Utah? Because I know Utah. I know Utah. Okay, we gotta take a break. Okay, so uh, moving on here, we actually have interesting news. Utah, these guys who have the uh, nosebleed tickets, they actually can't see part of their closer net to them. I think because the arena is built more so for a basketball court, but I don't know what type of infrastructure changes they can make to allow those fans to watch the games more properly. Maybe if I'm sure you saw this, right? Maybe those guys who have horrible seats, they get to pay. They get a front row seat to the concession stand to buy $2 hot dogs, $3 hot dogs, sorry. Dasani water bottle, $2. Box of popcorn, $3. Nachos, 3, and then Far's ice cream, no free ads, $3. Those are great prices. I feel like so many more teams should adopt this method. It's like the Fortnite method, free to play, but then you have like the cheapest. Actually, no, that's a horrible comparison. Um, Fan friendly concessions. Utah, they have the best prices in the league for all of their horrible food for your gut microbiome. Guy, even Dasani, it's owned by Coca Cola. There's a when you open a bottle of Dasani water bottle, brutal. But honestly, if I was a fan going to that game, I'd be ecstatic because you're not you're not spending $15 on a hot dog or $20 on a nacho and cheese dip plate like you buy at the Bell Center.
Yeah.
Horrible, horrible. But this is great for the league. I hope other teams adopt this. What do you think about this?
Yeah, no, I totally agree because, like you mentioned before, like in my notes, I had it as the Seattle arena that has issues, but clearly not. It's Utah, and not like you mentioned. Yeah, I think the arena is built for an NBA game. There's never people on that level
Yeah,
of the arena usually. But they said they're going to renovate and make changes, obviously. But honestly, I kind of like your idea, like getting front row. Like you don't get to watch the game. Like your team might score 5 goals that game, and all 5 goals will be in that section arena you can't see. So I
yeah,
kind of like it. You get your $3 hot dogs, get the worst bottled water on history with Dasani.
yeah.
They could have at least went with something else. But maybe they'll get a free
Mm-hmm.
upgrade actually. So since they're first in row, they don't get Dasani water. They get like Vogue. They get like Vogue. I'm not sure if that's a proper name. Voss water. Apologies.
Yeah, Vogue is a magazine company.
Exactly. But the only thing is that it won't be able to be in that famous glass bottle, as the fans could go crazy and just toss them off the nosebleeds. So it'll be like a special Voss plastic water bottle. So I think that's a great idea. Like we're jumping around. I kind of
Yeah,
like it how we're just shooting it around, like the concession
yeah,
prices, like the fan friendly.
100%.
Obviously, no vegan, so Glen wouldn't be allowed in the arena. There's actually signs like PETA
Yeah,
is actually not allowed in the kilometer radius around the arena, since there's no like vegan
yeah,
choices at the arena. It seems. Um,
yeah. Fuck them
uh,
all.
yeah, straight up.
I'm not going to
But
watch a game there. Screw that.
I know you had in your plans to go watch a Utah game this year and see the Coyotes, the Yetis play this year. But yeah, I'm sorry for you that there's no vegan choices. I'm going to go back
It's
quickly to the
okay.
Laine situation. I know we had a good laugh about the
Okay.
whole thing, but there was a point when
Yeah.
St. Louis mentioned that what made him the most sad about it was that he finally got him to, like feel welcome at the arena and like be happy to be back. And like he really saw that there was a change in him. And that just shows to the fans even more that he could have been like a game changer this year. And he mentioned it
Yeah.
that he's happy to see that he's built a home at the arena. It's not only a house. I really like that like analogy. Like the funny part that people didn't see is that they
Yeah.
actually try to translate that whole saying and that expression in French for the French community.
Oh God.
And I think they spent like 3 minutes trying to figure out how to properly translate it, and it just sounded terrible. So they just stopped it, and St. Louis was like, "Oh, at least you guys can see that we tried for 3 minutes, but nothing came out of it." So that was a pretty funny thing
Unbelievable.
that happened for that announcement. I'm looking through our notes here because we're jumping up and down. We spoke about Reinbacher 5 to 6 months. That's honestly terrible. The little bright side on it is that they mentioned today that he would stay with the team and that, Rabidas, like which is the defenseman coach with Montreal, is gonna spend extra time with him to make sure that he's still developing, maybe on a more mental aspect, obviously, than on the ice to get him ready. And then Laine, yeah, 2 to 3 months. Like you said, that was probably his own timeline, but he's supposedly going to get like a second and third opinion. They won't have like a first opinion to get a quick answer for the fans, but apparently he's going to go see a couple more specialists to see if like the surgery is really not required, or just a bunch of sauna time will fix it, and we'll just like
Yeah.
slowly remove it that's currently on the knee, and it's going to go back to normal. Maybe some
Mm.
yoga, some meditation on the side. Um, but we're honestly
Yeah.
hoping the best for Liney. Um, so that's what pretty much happened on the Hab side and like the injury side of the preseason. But one thing that really caught the attention lately and that got biz going on Twitter is the whole Swayman controversy and the Boston Bruins. If Glenn, you can give us more information on that and your take on it.
Yeah. So Boston, very interesting situation. Last year they traded, or this offseason they traded Linus Allmark, who won the Vezina Trophy a couple years ago. thinking that Jeremy Swayman is their new guy. Who Jeremy Swayman, he's holding out for a big time contract. I think his ideal salary would probably be like 8 years, 9 million to 10 million per year. I think he spoke about how him and maybe Shesterkin, they want to sort of be the front line guys to maybe bring the goalie contracts to that upper level, even though what the Boston Bruins supposedly offered, he would still be pretty high up on the all-time payment list. But needless to say, his his agent, Louis Gross, interesting name. He represents Jeremy Swayman, and he said, "Normally, I do not release statements or discuss negotiations, though, through the media. However, in this case, I feel I need to defend my client. At today's press conference, $64 million was referenced. This was the first time that that number was discussed in our negotiations. Prior to the press conference, no offer was made reaching that level. We are extremely disappointed. This was not fair to Jeremy. We will take a few days to discuss where we go from here." And this press conference that he's referencing, Cam Neely said,
Mm-hmm.
"I got 64 million reasons why I'd be playing." Basically saying a big fuck you to Jeremy Swayman for not signing this 8x8 deal. And it honestly is such a weird situation. What do you think about it?
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Like I know that he um, is the president of the league, so maybe he's not aware of the negotiations that the GM and the players' side are actually doing. Maybe that was something that was mentioned initially with them. So maybe in his mind, they had the 8x8. That's what we could assume. I don't see him
Yeah.
going higher than that. Definitely shocking. Seeing the agent post his comment afterwards and seeing the picture. So we'll post it on the screen here now, but they recreated the Marc Andre Fleury picture
Yeah.
where the Golden Knights spear was stabbing him in the back. Well, you'll see here that it's technically a Boston Bruins bear that's going through Swayman's back. What do you think of that image, Glenn?
It's really unreal because there's absolutely no blood, and the torso of the bear is super long. It's like a sausage wiener dog, but a bear. So
Exactly.
it's tatted neatly on the left arm there, the left paw. So honestly, hilarious photo. I can't stop looking at it. But I think it's a true representation about the upper management of the Boston Bruins here. I think they're putting Jeremy Swayman on blast here, and it's like, guys, you paid David Pasternak and Charlie McAvoy big contracts. It's like a big forward, a big defenseman. Pay Jeremy Swayman. I think he deserves this money. Like, there's a reason why that year that they broke all of those records, that they were going back and forth between Allmark and Swayman was holding his own.
Mm-hmm.
He almost like became the starter in a way. So it's like, yes, he does have a low sample
Mm-hmm.
size, but like all of these other deals around the league are being dished out. Maybe Cam Neely and company are a bit hesitant to do so, but I think Sway should be paid this contract. Pay Sway.
Paceway, that hashtag
Hashtag pay Sway.
Paceway in the comments below if you reach
Yeah.
this point to the episode. The other crazy thing I see on Swayman now is that, like he said that they're going to rethink the situation. So does that imply that they might start looking for a trade, asking for a trade after that? Like, we can't say otherwise. Like, it's a massing sign of disrespect towards his camp and trying to put the fans against him.
Yeah.
That why he's holding out. Um, a little bit more like today, basically the Bruins, after those rumors came out, they kind of sprinkled some salt on it, and they basically picked up a goalie that was waived by Golden Knights today. Like his last name's Patera. I don't know much about him. I think he's a very tall goalie, which is always a plus in the league. So I don't know at this point if they're just trolling the fans, but if you're trolling the fans, like that's such a negative image that's going to be put on your club. So I'm not sure where they'll go from there. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's a pretty crazy situation.
Cra-
Um,
yeah. Crazy
my next
situation.
point. we saw that once again, like very early in the morning, or I think it was late at night. I saw it in the morning, but basically the league had announced basically that no additional supplementary actions will be given after the game and the Senators, which honestly I was very surprised right off the bat when I saw the hit. That obviously later on I saw that it was more Timmy Stutzel's stick that caused the damage. That I was certain that Jacky was gonna get sussied at least for the first game, just to for the league to avoid having Jacky playing that first game against the Maple Leafs. But I guess that'll be a treat for the fans even more now for that first game. So were you surprised to see that Jacky wasn't going to get suspended, or did you think that, like you said, like it was more the stick that did the action?
Like, obviously, if you didn't see that other angle, you'd be like, holy crap, like this guy, what did this guy do to George Paros and company for not getting a 2 game sussy? But it's crazy how much a different angle could change the whole narrative, because, and it's so funny that it is Timmy Stutzel, because Stutzel um, does have like a bad history with diving, but this one I don't think he could have even avoided smashing his own stick into his own face. It's obviously, um, it's tough for Stutzel, but super happy that Wi-Fi didn't get canned 2 games. And yeah, dude, like I think from here we can actually just move on to the next, or the following preseason game. I believe it against Ottawa as well. The Kirby Doc situation
Yeah,
here. This guy, man,
yeah. It was actually this. It was actually the same game that this
this
whole. Oh no, yes, it was the same game that this second story happened
was
just
it?
much later in the game because that the reason that Xhaka went after Stützle in the first place, for those that didn't see the game, is that earlier in the game, Ridley Gregg already missed half the season last year for his betting story, which I got more details on that, but I'll say it after. But he blindside hit Kirby Doc, and that was basically the payback that Doc in the third period. Greg was challenging him, was taunting him, and Kirby Doc, responded, dropped the gloves, beat the living hell out of him. And can you tell us, Glenn, what happened on his way out to the locker room?
Kirby Doc, absolute man missile. I think I think on Twitter there was a guy who was like sort of swearing at him, an Ottawa Senators fan, but maybe his girlfriend was right beside. I don't think there's a clip of the fans being showed, but absolute dog, like gesturing to the guy's girlfriend, hey, like I'm gonna smash your girl, like call me, check, like DM me. My DMs are open. This guy, absolute legend. He's not really a fighter, but I think he held his own against Ridley Gregg, who I believe you mentioned that it was his betting story last year. I believe that was Shane Pinto, the Pinto parlay. He had a buddy. He had a
Right.
fucking buddy like go onto his Bet365 app and did a horrible plus 300 parlay that that it didn't hit, but Pinto got canned half the season. But yeah, man, Kirby Doc, absolute legend for this. He's going to live on for forever with this one. I think the Montreal Canadiens should hang up his jersey in the rafters. That was just such a crazy situation. They should just raise his jersey right now, and then he just chooses another jersey and still plays. Like that was just unbelievable.
To come back a bit to what you had said about Xhaka and what he did, to Paris in the league for not getting him suspended, but maybe he offered them free Costco memberships, the premium option where they get double
Oh
the
no,
points, so they'll never get harassed at any Costco
double
to
points,
upgrade their cards. But you know what else is not
genius.
free but could make you money? The buzzer beater bet.
The buzzer beater bet. Yo, Laine, what are you doing this week? First week of the 2024-2025 NHL season. What will be your last goal of the game buzzer beater bet?
Yeah, so when I went into our notes today, I saw that Glenn had already inputted his, so I had a good 5 minutes to think about it and look at the games this week. What I'm looking at is the first. I don't know if it's one of the first games, but it's the game between the Oilers and the Jets. I think that the Oilers will score the last game, the last goal of the game, and I would not be surprised if, like you mentioned earlier in the first or second episode, that it will be Mech Jesus that will score the actual buzzer beater goal in overtime. That's my pick this week.
Wow.
What's yours, Glenn?
My bet, my fucking buzzer beater bet is going to be the Utah Hockey Club slash Yetis. I think they're going to score the last goal. They might just score all the goals. Chicago Blackhawks, they're playing in Utah for the first game of the season, October 8th. I just feel like the fans in that building are going to be rocking. And like it's going to be Clayton Keller. Clayton Keller is going to snap one between, I don't know, is it Mrazek between the pipes for Chicago, right between the 5 hole, last goal of the game. I think they might just win 4-0. Parlay.
No faith in Connor Bedard, I can see. So the absolute future legend of the league will get shut down the first game. That's Glenn's prediction.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's what we had for today, Glenn. This concludes the third episode of the Last Buzz podcast. Do you have anything else to say to her? Following before we close off the episode.
Yeah, guys, a little quick episode for you guys right before the season starts. We will be releasing our podcast on Tuesdays. We're competing with the big dogs, Spitting Chicklets. We might be able to steal all of their
Mm-hmm.
viewers. So, yeah, guys, stay tuned. We'll be recording during the weekend and hopefully releasing on Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. Who the hell knows? We have full time jobs. We're busy people. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. And one more thing, or two, multiple things before we let you go. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the fucking channel. And if you're one of the 1,000 first subscribers of our channel, you're going to be so lucky to not get a practice jersey by Fanatics, but the model right above it. So yeah, of your favorite team, please enter. All you got to do is subscribe. And I know you dish it over to me for the last words, but I'm going to dish it back to you. Any parting words for our incredible fan base?
Yeah, so no, I'll keep it short and sweet. Don't forget to subscribe. We appreciate it. Follow us on the socials. I'm going to try to get the first three episode one shot posted on all audio podcast platforms this week. And on that note, bye bye.
Bye.